Good afternoon and welcome to this special meeting of the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich. We are here to discuss our draft budget. At this time, I'll call on Clerk Tara to open the meeting.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Pemberton, that the meeting of the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich opens at 4:31 p.m. All in favor? And that's carried.
Does council have any declaration of pecuniary interest? I see none. There is one item on the budget or on the agenda, and it is our draft budget review 2024. And we had a brief discussion. I think we'll go by department. We'll just go through them if that makes sense to staff and council. And we'll start with administration. Tab 1A I have. Everybody's had this to review. Are there any questions that council has on this budget item? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
I know this won't affect the bottom line, but I have a question concerning donations and in-kind grants concerning the 20,000 for our baseball diamond. I just wonder if that shouldn't be transferred down into, because it's money we're spending on our own facilities, if we shouldn't transfer that down to recreation.
It's there because it's taxpayers' money that you guys committed to a club. But we can't, that's why I put it there, but we can definitely forgot where I'm leaving.
To me, it just makes more sense to be in recreation.
Yeah, no, that's, I definitely can move it, yes.
That 20,000 will be spent on something tangible,
Mhm.
like a backstop or so.
It has to be Diamond 3 is what we
Yeah,
agreed to.
Washington's council, just a nod.
I'm in agreement with that. I think that's where the allocation should go.
Okay.
Yeah, that-
Okay with that?
Oh, I don't care where it goes.
Could
It's
I
still, it's
bring
still.
up one other item? Again, this is not going to affect the overall budget, but I believe Backus page is in there for 10,000 in that amount in kind. So we've been giving money to Backus page for 25 years. When does it become culture and heritage? Like it's something, we don't need to decide that this evening, but I think it's something for consideration. If we're going to give them money for that many years, obviously we recognize them as part of the culture and heritage of our municipality. And it goes directly against members of council expenditures, which I don't think is the right allocation for that funding. We need to make a decision at some point in time. What is the actual allocation of that? Either that or we don't give, period.
Right.
That'll be a
Yeah,
council
and
decision.
this is historically the way every municipality does it. If the council is giving away money for non-departmental things,
I understand.
it's a donation in kind. So we could go forward, and if it's gonna be something council wants every year, then we could put maybe make a department under rec and culture and say heritage or whatever, and then put it there every year as a budget line item.
Right.
So
So that would
going
be,
forward,
that would be
we
a
could-
conversation I would like to have with council going forward. To me, it sort of cleans things up a little bit. Okay. The other part to this is the allocation to the Lions Club, the building permit. So that is designated as an expenditure to council. So, I mean, I don't know where else it could go, but I mean, it's a large sum of money and it certainly doesn't look good on the overall bookkeeping side of things as far as the public. But I understand exactly.
but it's taxpayers' money that council is giving away. So, yeah,
Yeah, I guess.
just trying
Go
to
ahead.
be
Yeah.
transparent, right?
I did have a discussion with Tracy, and I don't think we need to do it right this moment. We can go through the budget, but if we really needed to break that down between this year and next year? That's something we could maybe look at.
I did reach out to the building and planning department, and that will go before the end of the year, so it will have to be recorded to Jackie by the end of the year. So
Yeah, okay, that's
I
fine.
did double check on that for you. Yeah.
I wonder if this discussion, staff is working on the payment in kind, putting some structure to it. And lump that conversation in at that time. And not only Backus Page, Fair Board.
Yeah.
They're at the table for, I think, the same.
Yeah.
And generally it's an annual thing as well. So council has to come to grips with, you know, the benefit to the community, and where do we stick that, I guess, is what your concern is.
I agree.
Okay.
Good. I've got one more on page 2, and it's miscellaneous revenue. I just noticed for the last 2 years, we've been considerably over our budget amount there. I'm not 100% sure what's even in that.
Sorry, for admin or?
Yeah, admin on page 2, miscellaneous revenue account 0025.
Oh, that is, so we budget for the solar money in there, and then if we get dribs and drabs of other things, so.
Okay.
Um,
I just noticed that
Yeah.
it's 32,000 and
yeah,
22 and 26, and we budgeted 15 the last couple of years. And I
Let
wanted
me
that a
look
place
at
we
the-
couldn't find a little bit more revenue. But again, it's
I'm
not
just gonna look to see if
not
it's
huge
something that I
movement.
don't expect every year, or.
right here. Page 2. Second page. Yeah,
No, go ahead, I'm just gonna go in
See
and look
what's
and
in
see
it?
what's in there, or see if it's something I
Okay.
just figured wouldn't happen
We'll
every
come-
year.
Turn
or-
around, come back to that one.
and I guess the next one I had is insurance, and I know we don't have any control over that, but I see it in lots of different places, different amounts, and I wonder if you could kind of tell us how much of an increase did we get in our total insurance bill this year?
Just under 10%. Again,
Okay.
I think we have to stop having so many claims.
I don't think
Unfortunately.
it matters that much.
Just feels like every time we have a claim, I just feel like it's going up again.
And I guess one more, then I'm gonna shut up and let somebody else talk for a minute. Bank interest 0070. And I know that's pretty near last year's actual, but my question is, are we gonna have as many municipal drains going this year as we did last year? And is there any to move there? And it's kind of a crystal ball.
It is a
issue.
crystal ball, and I don't wanna budget for a deficit,
Yeah.
because we're not allowed to, so.
Yeah.
I don't wanna just start putting things down now. We don't have, no, we will, sorry, I was gonna say, we have Shackleton line going, so that's gonna be money coming out of our bank account that we don't have until.
Right, so, yeah.
I am, and we just paid for the chassis. So that's some money so I am actually looking at getting the loan quicker. Like I've got some estimates on stuff coming up. So, I mean, if we get the loan in place, then we shouldn't be in our line of credit, but I mean, we can lower that. I'm okay with it. I was just trying to keep it so that we're not running into a deficit again, so.
Based on the conversations that I've had, I don't think we're going to see the drains be less than last year, other than Ash Line, I believe, cost a lot of money in assessment last year. So, but there's a few other ones that are in the works that are going to be quite expensive as well. So.
Anything else with admin?
Do you want me to lower that a bit? What's everybody's thoughts on that? Do you think,
The interest?
yeah, I mean,
You have a better
every
handle on
little
that.
bit, I mean, we could go through and take a little bit out here and there is gonna help, right? It's not gonna hurt, but.
Why don't we just leave that and see how we go through it? If we need an extra 5,000 or something, we can always come back and talk about it.
It seems like Canada's gonna drag their feet on lowering interest rates. They're gonna start in the States, but I don't think we're gonna see that same thing, so gotta be prepared for it. We'll just a question mark on that one. Okay. Is there anything else with administration?
Just one thing. I'm looking at, line 0098, election expense.
Yep.
Um, I'm just kind of curious about,
The 5,000.
yeah,
So we basically put 5,000 into the election reserve every year. So
Mhm.
that when election comes, we've got money that we don't have to budget
Okay,
again
so
for.
it costs, so it's costing about $20,000. for
Yeah, rough, I
election.
think we went, sorry, Derek.
Yeah, it also covers our data. So every year or every election, we get data from MPAC and then we have to sort through that data and update it. So usually the municipality has a better record of the data than MPAC does. So this just lets us keep that data in the data bank until next election as well. And that's about $1,000.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
We okay on admin?
I just want to let you know, I upped that miscellaneous revenue. I upped it to 25. I mean, it's not gonna amount to much, just because kind of questioned it, so. We'll see where we'll end up when we're done here, yeah.
A little bit here, a little bit there.
Yep, yep.
Makes a difference. Okay, I'm on page, well, we've got Service Ontario at the top. Looks to me like we're actually going to make a buck or two in that one.
I think so. I didn't go like too high, but I think we'll get West Lawrence people, so I think we might, be good. I don't know. Last time I estimated high because of COVID and everything, and then it went. So then now this year we seem to be good again, so I don't know. I think it's
I'm happy if it's a break even.
yeah, so we didn't do too bad this year. We ended up with what? A little bit of a deficit,
Yeah.
but not overly crazy, but.
Okay, everybody good with that one?
Yeah, the only comment I make is we could be allocating a little bit of that building expenses in there. It's all in the doctors, but.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is-
'cause it's that
six
one
of
building.
half
Yeah, yeah,
dozen of
yeah,
The
yeah,
other, so
yeah.
it's not gonna
Yeah.
affect our bottom line.
Yeah.
So now it's gonna be a break even, Ken. Okay. Let's flip to protective services in the fire department. Any questions or concerns with that? I have a question on the salaries and wages. Our new chief, how have we budgeted for that?
It's in that 230. I'm hoping I'm okay with that.
Or like permanent? That's for the full year?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any
Corey?
questions from council? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'm just curious what the contracted services are for fires at.
Let's see, that would be cleaning of the bunker gear. Oh, let me see if I can go in.
Okay.
Stuff like that,
Yeah,
but yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think, what was it last? Did it come in high?
Yeah, because of the cleaning of the bunker gear, the
Yeah.
bottle fills, the
Yeah.
other stuff that's fine. Okay.
Yeah, and it was a little higher this year because we had those girls come in and do the meetings with the fire guys and stuff. But that's why it's a little bit over this year. So I didn't go with what we were this year. I went back down. So yeah. So
Anything else on our fire department?
When's the delivery on the new truck? Is that not this year?
fall. Yes. Like I was saying earlier, we just paid for the chassis. We had to go get the American check last week. Tara, did we go down to Rodney? So they need the money before they start building it. So I think Jeff's thinking fall we'll have it. So it's in my loan and I'm
that-
applying for it. So.
So that's in your loan. then, yeah.
Yeah. A scary amount of money for a truck.
I think that's a really generous. And I think that's a really generous estimate on his part. I feel like it'll probably be the beginning of next year.
Yeah, well, could be. As long as I can keep the bank, money in the bank a little longer, I'm good. I can bring that number down that Ken mentioned.
Okay. Moving on to policing.
I've got
You go ahead.
a quick one, I guess, on POA revenue. Let's see, we're down to 14.5. Last year we budgeted 28. I remember that used to be considerably more than that, and that's, if memory serves right, that's supposed to be based on the tickets that are
Yeah.
written on 401 in Elgin County divided by the 3 municipalities, and we used to get way over $40,000 a year.
Yeah, well, in 2022, we got 22.5. Now we're down to 14 and Jennifer says it's getting less. So, yeah.
And are they still using the same formula or we don't know that?
It is basically the same formula, but now they got a third party that does it out of, oh shoot. So towards Toronto, looks after it for us, so there's admin fees they take off, and yeah, we've had Jennifer come in the CEO meetings quite a few times to explain this POA, because it seems like the money is dropping, but she said even the money they're collecting is dropping for some reason, I don't know why.
Okay, thank you.
But like, again, I'm trying not to overestimate on revenue, and because we just end up with a deficit every year if we just go too high trying to make the tax rate proper, so.
Yep.
But it's your choice. I can up it if you want, so.
No, I was just curious.
Yeah, no, I believe me, Ken, we've been talking to Jennifer a lot about that, why it's dropping, so.
Everybody's becoming law abiding.
Yeah, right.
That's the only explanation I can come up
I
with.
think it's the fact the cops can't chase them. So
Yeah,
it's-
they use the limit of the speeding limit, you can go 100 in front of you, you don't touch it.
Mm,
And the OPP contract, that's a solid number.
Yeah,
Conservation Authority, that's a budget presented to us, so that's what we got to work with.
and the revenue in there is our tree sales, so that's kind of a wash. I added it to the expense line and.
Okay,
the revenue, so.
emergency measures. Tara, do you have any comments on that one?
So a lot of this will be towards getting supplies, and working with the county. They're going to be giving us a new agreement soon. They're still going to be doing a lot of our emergency training, exercises, things like that, but we'll be bringing the CEMC back in-house.
Any questions on that?
So with the new timesheets that I've got designed, I've kind of upped Tara's hours because now she can track them. So she has a timesheet that actually will allocate what she's doing. So going forward next year, we'll have a better number on how much time she's spending on emergency management. But because she's now going to be the CAMC, I think that will be higher by year end, but it just comes off. I just credited the admin.
Mhm.
So because her salary. So yeah. So.
Animal control looks break even. That's a good thing. Bylaw enforcement. Corey, did you have a question?
Yeah, I guess my only question for that is we're outsourcing all of our bylaw enforcement. And knowing we're looking at the building department numbers and numbers of permits, is there a way that we can get our building official to maybe do some initial investigation and bring some of this number down.
Yeah, or she'll demand her salary go up.
I don't think we want to have that come.
No, I know. I'm playing devil's advocate here, so yeah.
Right back. I think it's a
No,
way that we
I-
could look
I
at.
think she does look at some stuff, but I don't know if it's actually recorded as like she's bylaw, but. I mean, that's certainly a conversation we can have with her, but.
Tara, are we seeing more use of bylaw or less? What would your comment be on that?
So Jackie does go out and look for fencing. And she'll do like some property standards, like if the house looks unsafe, then she'll go and do something like that. Then we're using tenant for all of our other bylaw enforcement. We do just have 1 or 2 issues that are taking up a lot of our time. Other ones are dealt with pretty quickly. I wouldn't say there's any more than any other year. It's just different than what we've been getting.
Are some of them repeats? Like tenants back time and time again?
I would say yes, but I think that's across any municipality. Like you've got your regulars, kind of.
And the reason I ask that question, is there a way to invoice for frivolous or constant issues like that?
We do have a policy for frivolous complaints, but for repeat offenders, we do have some processes where, like, as an example, there's a property that every year we have to go out there and get it cut. We still follow the process that we're supposed to follow, but instead of kind of giving them that chance to come out and cut the grass, it's okay, we're really sticking to the timeline. Whereas otherwise, we try to do more of an education process, and it may take a little bit longer, but sometimes it clicks, sometimes it doesn't.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Ken.
Again, I know this doesn't affect our budget, but the amount we got in for license and permit is probably pretty low if you include the Lions Club 114.
Yeah, Jackie gave me those numbers and I wondered, when I was putting that in there, I was gonna ask her about that if she was considering that when she gave me the number.
19,000 now, and the Lions Club maybe 133 with 10 months to go. So I'm looking at the revenue.
Yeah, so it's a zero net,
And
but
that's
yeah,
right, the zero, but-
yeah.
And I guess my other question is when I look at this, again, we don't allocate any insurance costs unless I'm missing it here. Or really office space either in the one.
There's an office overhead I've added,
Okay,
and I also charge her for a portion of Keystone, and she also has her cloud permit.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. Okay, but the office overhead is pretty,
yeah, it might not be enough, but it's,
and I guess my thing is insurance, is that something we can allocate into here?
yeah, we could, yeah.
I don't know what you guys do in Southold, but.
Yeah, there's an allocation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess it really doesn't affect it because building is self-funded, but knowing what I know, your cloud permit software is going to go up
Yeah.
significantly.
Yeah, I
So
know.
that might be something they want to be prepared for.
Yeah. Yeah,
More than double.
I mean, she's already, but yeah, it's already a deficit like this year, so hopefully she gets her revenues up, so.
Well, I'm sure that'll be up.
Yeah.
With the
So,
Lions
yeah.
Club in there, but I just wonder, insurance is a big item for us if we.
Yeah, I
Shouldn't
can
be adding
work on that office allocation. It's probably, I mean, there wasn't anything in there before. I added
Yeah.
that, but yeah, so, yeah.
Okay. Into the Works Department? What at that point?
3?
Yep. Let's, any questions on that, for council?
The bridges and culverts. You've got 27,000 in there for that. We approved some of those through capital. So is that for just in cases and
Yeah.
what ifs?
Yeah.
Because there might be a just in case in Iona or on Iona Road.
Yes, I think, yeah, that's, there's a couple there. Yeah, he gave me numbers. He's got 12,000 and 50,000. There must be two he knows he needs to work
Yeah,
on. So yeah,
okay.
yeah. So. I know it with roads, it's a crystal ball again. You just don't know what's gonna happen, right?
I see Murray's got everything broken down to municipality and county.
Yes, we
So
have
my
to.
question is, when he adds up all the expenses, does the 539,000 that the county gives us cover it?
Well, let's hope these new timesheets and new GLs, you guys are seeing the old GLs, but we are using the new ones and
So
and
we'll
you'll see
have
those
better
next.
information.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. So we will know whether we're getting,
okay. And the 2024 budget, there is a zero beside municipal drains.
yeah, I had 125,000 in there and I took it out because that's 3% the tax rate. No, not three, not quite three, but yeah. Because I was hoping that we could put that in there and if we didn't use it, we could transfer it to a municipal drain. And have that kind of as a line item going forward, so we got money in a municipal drain reserve, but, this is not the year, I guess, to try and start funding reserves. Um, we did we did remove the $40,000 sidewalk that was approved in capital. Is out of here for your information. We put in just 10 for emergency. Anything that might have to get done with sidewalks for operation and maintenance. Just to bring that tax rate down because it was tax funded that 40,000. So just so all of you are aware, like if you want to put it back in or if you're okay with leaving it out for this year and then having Murray and Ryan come up with I had Murray Ryan sit through how to assess and appraise the sidewalks and everything through LAS today. He said it was pretty good. So maybe we can get stuff going. Yeah. So
A plan.
a plan in place for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the conversation in our meeting,
Mhm.
a couple of times, rather than just dump money, we want to see a solid plan going forward and,
Yeah.
and it's a little bit, so, we can allocate X number of feet per year and it just makes more sense and we can actually have an actual number to work with, so.
And going forward, when we get the asset management software up and running, that will spit that out for you and you'll be able to see. Yeah. So,
Just a question on snow plowing, sanding and salting.
mhm.
We seem to be just using historical numbers. I can't help but think we've saved a lot of money already in 2024 and quite often the start of winter is not terrible. And I'm just looking at, can Murray look at that again? We need every dollar we can.
Yep. Like I said, we just budget for a deficit.
Well,
I just comment, I understand, Mayor Hens, where you're coming from, but this is probably an avenue where you can build some reserves and I'm not disputing your thought process here. I just think that it's a tough year. There's no doubt about it. And we're trying to figure our way through it, but the whole point is to somehow build a little bit of capital so that we have some working dollars. So, if the council so wishes, we can reduce the number, but this might be an opportunity where we can actually take a little bit of cash and set it aside.
Right. So if you have a surplus, you put it to your extreme weather event reserve or something along those lines.
It's just a thought.
That's the way I go at this is like, I don't want to bare bones this so that we end up with a deficit because that's what we've done for years and it's kind of why we're in the pickle we're in. So, I think we need to, I know it's not easy pill to swallow, but I got to tell you my opinion, and if you don't take it, that's fine, but.
As long as we don't choke on that pill. Go ahead, Counselor Goulart.
Yeah,
Close your ears, Nora.
I'm just looking at washouts,
Mm-hmm,
that line item.
mm-hmm,
I know that there was a significant issue on a road that we did, and it was costing a lot for the washout. That would have been Aaron Line.
mm-hmm.
And I see we were high because the drain got done, but we had to contend with the washouts last year, so it was high. But if you look back historically, I don't think it was quite.
I wonder, like, and I also wonder too,
We may have some new spots.
no, yeah, and this is kind of like the snow too, right? If we have a wet season again, are we gonna have more washouts? Yeah, that's council's decision whether they like to lower that or not.
Could I just suggest Murray just browse through the numbers again and just, if he's good with them, then I guess I can live with them as well.
Yeah, I can have him, Ryan, these
We're not
were
gonna-
Ryan and
We're not gonna
Murray's
set the
numbers.
budget or tell Murray
Yeah.
you can't do this or
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
We gotta go to him and
No, and I mean, that is a safety issue, like washouts are a safety issue.
And,
so
you know,
we
I
do
think-
Have to.
yeah.
We do have to have the money there to do it, but I just know that there was one that one on Aaron Line was costing significantly.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, although it's not perfect at this point, they take a little while for
Yeah.
everything to work as it should. I'm just looking at that number and it's a bit higher than it historically was.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's the back to his budget in 2022, which he didn't use, so then I think I lowered it. He probably kept the same, and I think I lowered it last year.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, but
And-
it doesn't look like, yeah, I can certainly talk to, I'll have,
Sure.
I'll go through this with him tomorrow again, but.
yeah,
um,
yeah. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep, yep.
I'm on to the sheet with the vehicles. Are we to that point yet?
Just see
Still under
our
works.
line painting come in under, but, or lower than what we thought, so that was good. Come on, I gotta point out the wins. Nobody noticed the wins.
All the equipment, all the trucks are listed here, and any questions on that?
So, yes,
Yeah.
Mhm.
everybody here, nothing breaks, save money.
I know, and I went through and whittled some of these down, because I think Murray plays devil's advocate when he starts going through these numbers, right? And I'm like, I think I can take some here and there but, and maybe it is still too high, I'm not sure.
Same with the fuel, but we don't.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because we budgeted high last year because of the price of gas, and then it did come down, so. So I don't know why he's up again, but
Are any trucks still on the road that have been replaced? Or did we,
I don't. I don't know if the parks guys are using that one still for odd things, the one that's falling apart, but I
Yeah.
think it's still, they use it for. The odd thing when they have to go two separate ways, or I think.
Okay.
That truck 100.
I don't know what it
No,
is,
maybe
but
it's
I think that's something we've gotta look at as well.
110.
You know, sometimes.
Oh, no, it's truck 114 and they given it to the landfill guys. That's what it is. I got landfill sit beside it. Yeah, that's where it went. So,
Sometimes it's nice to have an extra.
Yeah.
Some students are here.
yeah, yeah. So it's just sitting at the landfill.
Okay.
Mhm.
Anything else on equipment, R and M?
Well, with equipment, we pretty much turned down everything they've asked for, so I don't know where we can cut any more.
So we just keep fixing stuff. Um,
But this is good information. If some piece of equipment starts costing you too much, then you do.
Well, like the vent track, obviously you guys knew we brought that report to council, we
Mm.
put that money into it, and so we shouldn't have to do that again for, yeah. So,
So,
yeah, let's hope.
On to waste.
4A, Tara. So for some reason, our bag tags were down this year. I don't know why. People throwing their garbage out in the ditch. I don't know. No. They're getting better at it? Is that
They're
what it
getting
is?
better at recycling.
I think so, yeah.
I think people are too. I see a lot more when I bet, well, we travel the same roads and I see a lot more recycle bins. So I think
Good.
people are just getting better and understanding what is waste and what's not.
Mhm.
The garbage collection contract is.
Yeah,
solid
if you'll notice that I split it this year, because last year, I think historically it all went under waste collection. And part of the contract was recycling, so I moved the two portions to the proper GLs, so that's why it looks out of whack from the previous year. So,
And we're gonna save some money on the landfill this year. We're not there as much. and-
yeah, so I reduced their hours and I also reduced the revenue because we're really down on revenue out there. I don't know why. Maybe because, I don't know, like 2022 was so high, so we budgeted high and then it just went right back down. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So this, remember I said some things have changed since you guys got, so Ken called, so I had just did the doctor's agreement just as was. So Ken suggested, we might possibly get, obviously, if what we do is there's gonna be an increase in their rent. So I just added 5% to that, what we got last year, so that put that revenue up. And I also went back and did put that license cost to half, because no matter what, we're gonna be stuck with that license cost until June probably. And then that is one thing we know we want off our, so I did delete that, so there wasn't much change between the two, but those are the two things I said I changed.
I got the old sheets. Where would that put the income then with the 5%?
157, 238. And then the expenses went down to 454, 279. And
So
like
the
Ken
net-
says, some of that stuff would be, it's just goes under the medical billing, but some would be Service Ontario, so
So we're still right around 300,000,
293, 549.
293?
Yeah, which if we took that out, our tax increase would only be 2.96.
Okay. It's still a work in progress.
Yep. But we wouldn't take it all out anyway. We still would have expenses. So I just,
You gotta remember, we're looking at pretty high tax increase, but this accounts for a lot of our costs. So
yeah,
this is something to definitely continue to work at.
yeah, because,
6%. Right there.
yeah. Well, yeah, just the salaries are 383,000. Take those out and you just save yourself a lot of money. So, yeah.
Okay, we're done with that one?
I believe that just a comment that this is what our general public has to be made aware of. This cost. Yeah, they look at the tax rate in general and they're assuming that we're totally wasting municipal dollars. But this here is a huge aspect. We offer it. There's very few municipalities that offer this type of service, and it's a part of, going back to the days when we didn't have a doctor, we needed the doctors. It all served its purpose, but at the end of the day, this is something that'll have to be justified. And if the ratepayers are telling us continually that our tax rate's going too high, which I hear constantly, then this is a logical place to start. So just a comment.
It's not what we're tasked with as a municipality, healthcare. But here we are. Okay, on to cemeteries.
So I know Deputy Mayor Loveland asked me about the cemeteries because our contract girl is gone the end of April, but that includes, so that would be hers at the end of April. And then I did a portion of Randy. And it's a portion of Dan and Gerald for the grass cutting and some roads guys for digging the graves. So that's kind of what's all in that amount. So it doesn't look like it went down, but it does have some portion of some people in there. I didn't put any Terra to there. I should have, but anyways.
I guess a question, we talked a couple of years ago about tendering some grass cutting. And I know that
Yeah.
we never have.
Well, I had the guys look into it, so I'm pretty sure they were gonna get some quotes for me, so, just because I think the guys would like to get rid of that as well, like our staff, they don't like doing it anyway, so. We will,
Time consuming job.
yeah, yeah, like, well, it's be so fiddly, right, going through anyways, but yeah, we are looking into that, so. It'd be something we'd bring back to council if we get some,
If we do that, it might be a savings there.
yeah,
May not,
yeah,
but
yeah.
maybe they come in.
Just to gain a comment, I'm a little disappointed, to be honest with you, that I was expecting that number to drop a lot. So the reallocation of time and cost really. So I guess like in 2023 was a lot of the costs included in that $48,000. So we were paying Leslie to a substantial amount of money to do, and here we are, we're actually spending more. So I'm just not sure. That's something I didn't talk about in the meeting, but I'm
Because
just not understanding
that-
why it's costing us.
that number has, because she's here till the end of April, it's got like $21,000 extra, like above, doubling
Because of the
up for
transition.
Randy, because Randy's being trained, so she's going.
Yeah, and I'm not challenging your.
No,
thinking,
no, and
I'm
it's just-
But I'm just a little disappointed it's $50,000 still. to be
Yeah,
honest.
Leslie gets paid a good hourly wage, so it's, and so to get that off the books is gonna be.
So
so-
going forward, you never know, I guess, every year, it depends what, but 2025, do you think that cost will be a little bit less?
It should be, because Randy is, gets paid less, and also she will only record her hours that she's there, right? So she's here doing laser fees, or she's doing policies or whatever, and she might only have 2 burials a month. Whereas Leslie, we're paying to do all that cleanup, so she's constantly working at the cemetery, right? So we won't have a dedicated cemetery person anymore, so that should come way down, right, Tara? Yeah, so. Like, how many burials have we had this year?
There's been 2 this year so far. So we're also at this point, because Randy's going out and learning from Leslie, so we're paying for 2 people to be out there, plus our public works guys when we do the burial. So it's costing a little bit more now, but I think it's gonna pay off in the long run because Randy will have that knowledge and transfer.
Yeah, and also, because Leslie came from a board, and so that was all they did, right? She's under the impression that they need to be out there for the burial and stuff, and we don't feel that Randy needs to be out there. So she will do all the work here and get it, so it'll be, an hour, not standing out there for 3 kind of thing. So we will get this cleaned up for next year for sure, and it will have, with the new timesheets, hopefully we'll have better numbers of how long she's spending out there, so, or not out there, but with the, the families and things.
One more question, the $10,000 contracted services. I know in the past we had some special work done out there. I don't know what that is anticipated to cover.
I'm not sure. I might have just copied the number over. Let me look. Oh. That might have been adding for grass cutting. I think that's what that is. I put that in there. I earmarked it. Yes, that's for, I earmarked that for grass cutting, because that number up above is only Gerald, or only the roads guys. So I think I put that in there for grass cutting, so I can take that out and see if we save with the salaries. It's totally up to you guys.
That's grass cutting if we do it. That's what
I
that-
think I put that in there for, cause we were gonna get quotes for grass cutting, and I think I stuck that in there to earmark it, and, so we could take it out because we could cover with salaries, so.
I guess my only concern is if you take that out. Did you just said that you didn't include grass cutting in the salaries and wages, so wouldn't you have to put something back in there?
So that usually is Timmons coming in, they were doing all the, Little John and that doing the digging. So, we tossed around, so the salaries include Gerald and Dan for grass cutting. But I put that in there to earmark it because we considered the roads guys don't want to dig the graves anymore. So I put that in there to either, if they don't want to dig the graves, if we get somebody to do that, or if we get somebody for grass cutting, it's in there for, so we're covered. But I can certainly take it out because, that, I knew that we wanted somebody because,
It won't automatically raise the number somewhere else in your budget.
no, it'll bring it down. No, because, no, not at all. So, I was just looking back, I just went back and opened up my, spreadsheet. And that number, that 51 is only, 50,000 salaries is only Leslie, Dan, Gerald, and Randy. I thought I had put Public Works in there, but I don't, so. So they will go this year because it's on their timesheets for, tracking, so. But that can certainly come out if you guys would like. It's 10, I mean, 10,000 is 10,000, so.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so. Yeah.
So just another quick question, so the flower gardens at the front there, and this is a broad statement, but the flower gardens coming into the cemetery do we maintain them, or is that maintained by the Horticultural Society, or?
No, it's Dan and Gerald.
So
yeah.
last year they weren't managed well, and which is fine.
Yeah.
I know they
Yeah.
get busy, but so we either eliminate them, or if it's time,
Mhm.
if it's a time management thing and we can't get it done, then just don't have them at all. Like that's either
Yeah,
we
just
get that,
take the
or
rate out, yeah,
we get the Horticulture Society, because all we do is look at them, and
Mhm.
they became an eyesore last year, and we either decide we're not gonna have them and just cut the grass, or we manage it, one or the other. So I mean, if we're
Yeah.
gonna take something off their plate, that'd be something we take off.
So I think, yeah, so the reason I, like, the 10 I had earmarked in there is like, there's only 6,500 in there for Dan and Gerald in salaries. I just took a percentage, right? So I don't know if you'd get somebody to cut the grass for 6,500. So I think that's, between that and the grave digging, I think I earmarked 10 grand in there, but I mean, we could take it out and see how it plays out to see how.
Well, yeah, if you've earmarked it for grass cutting and grave digging, then we should probably leave it in
Leave
there.
it in there, just,
Because you're
I,
gonna need to cut grass and dig graves.
yeah, so 6,500 is not gonna, I mean, that's gonna come out, but I don't know what a contract's gonna cost you to cut grass.
More than that.
And then the 6,500 is there to cover for the roads guys if they're digging the graves, so.
Could we ask the Horticultural Society if they would take that one on?
I think they probably do it, I don't know, I'm sure.
They used to, I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that-
I'm of the same opinion as you are. If we're not going to maintain it, or we can't get the Horticultural Society to do it, then I think we need to just eliminate it. Put a shrub, I don't know,
I
but,
thought that Leslie had cleaned all that up, had he not?
well, I did get a couple of calls about it.
Yeah.
And I think maybe you did too. Yeah. So,
It's not a big deal for me.
No.
I'm just saying, just make a decision one
Yeah,
way or the
yeah.
other. And if it's a cost savings to the municipality
I
in
think,
time,
yeah,
then-
Sarah has a better understanding of this, but I was pretty sure when we got Leslie, she was cleaning up the whole thing because there's not supposed to be trees and there's not supposed to be this and that, so, yeah.
My understanding is that there's not supposed to be any flower beds there, so they did try to remove a lot of the materials, but of course with perennials, they just grow back on their own. So I think they just kind of let it grow to find out where everything was, and then it didn't get circled back to get removed. But we can make sure that's done this year.
small thing, but I thought.
Yeah, Yeah, yeah. So are we leaving the 10 in or taking it out? Okay,
I would.
all right, okay, all right,
Look back, I said, we're looking.
okay, all right.
Recreation and culture.
Let's cut it all. Sorry, Henry, I had to do that for you.
Anything in there that you want to discuss?
I think they came in pretty good, like they're compared to 2023. They're down quite a bit. So we really went through it and
Mhm.
um
Okay.
anything that sticks out to you guys? Cause um always good to have second eyes on these things because your eyes start to go blurry when you're doing this.
You've got
So
salaries allocated the best you can.
And if you'll notice on those, like, I know that you guys, you know, committed some of this stuff, but then it turns around and it's a credits to the other departments, right? So, I mean, it's not, I know it's there because you guys donated it under council budget, but you'll see under facilities admin, there's a credit there for the time that you've committed to help. So it doesn't really, it doesn't affect the tax rate at the end of the day. So it just gets allocated to the proper departments. Just if you're wondering what those credits were.
I guess my question is that, and I understand the money has to be allocated to specific areas, but so I guess my question is that if we're doing in kind, and it gets allocated to, you know, something that we decide as council, I guess my thinking is that Daryl and Dan are on the payroll anyway, right? So they're working their 35 or 36 or 40 hours a week or whatever, whatever their work schedule is. So what the in-kind portion gets deducted off of so there's an in-kind allocation to specific functions that we have in our community. So the thing is, because there's in-kind dollars, allocations, does that mean they work overtime? Is that
For some things, depends on what
but
it
I
is.
mean, do we actually physically pay them overtime for, let's say, putting up Christmas lights at Christmas time? I'm just throwing the question out there because we can look at that part. If it's beyond their mandate, then I think that's something that we have to address as council.
Yeah.
Because I don't, but if it's part of their typical scope of work, then and it goes above and beyond their hours, then that's something we need to look at,
right.
right? So that's my question.
Right.
How much is actually additional cost to the municipality and how much is actually part of their just job,
So
right?
that stuff is not part of their job because they're doing stuff for a non-municipal department.
But if my argument is if they're within their working hours and so I'm just thinking out loud here, right? I'm just wanting to understand this. If they're within their regular working hours, is it actual in kind? Or is it just part of their mandate? So,
Well, I wouldn't say in Dan's job description, delivering tables for the Walls Fair is in his job description. So this is just transparency to the taxpayers that why is my municipal staff driving around out here delivering tables? That's not part of his job. So,
but what would he have been doing otherwise? That would be that's just my question.
so he
right?
probably jumps off the lawnmower to deliver the tables and then comes back and jumps on the lawnmower. I don't know for
Okay.
sure, but I'm just saying, this is transparency that the council is committing staff time to non-municipal events. And I think the taxpayers need to know that. It's not hidden. It's there. You guys are, and it's great. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. But I think as council, it's transparent that our guys were committing our staff to this. And so it's under that department. But I mean, I can certainly take it out. That's not.
No, and that's not my challenge. It's just that I'm trying to understand the function of it, right? So that going forward, maybe some of these things can be adjusted or changed going forward. And you know, that's more of what it is, because a lot of parks and recreation is community service, right? So that's for another discussion for another day. So I just wanted to ask that questions.
Anything further?
I kind of jumped forward to the pool. Is that?
You got tired of the donation, you got tired of the donation in kind. Or, I think Meryl, did you have something to say? Because you were, while we're on that subject, we could go back to it.
Yeah, just, I have two things and you're jumping ahead to the pool, I'm jumping ahead, I'm jumping to something else.
Oh,
But, in the full scope of, recreation, it's community and culture as well. So when we do festivals that include our community members that are a ingrained part of our, I'm kind of like you, I don't see like
mhm.
putting up lights or delivering tables to the walls, town fair. Like, I mean, I know that's transparency but I also think that it's part of recreation, community and culture.
Yeah, and
Because that's an ingrained, those are ingrained things in our community that,
and there's a credit in the roads department too for the night, the guys have to stay and put up the roadblock for the car show and
Exactly.
stuff like that. So that's the only reason I did it that way, because it's like, these guys, we're committing this and this, and count, and people should be aware that you guys, this, because here's the problem, because I don't think a lot of people out there, when the event is not run by us, let's say, I'm not picking on Optimus, but let's say the Optimus. I don't think they realize what council has given, right? So when we put it in the budget and you say we've committed this, this and this, and then I think it's the taxpayers know that we committed our staff time to help and we committed this, and that was council's contribution, right? So to me, it shouldn't be a bad thing that that's on there. I mean, this year it's a little high because of the building permit thing, right? Obviously, but I also want them to know at the end of the day, it's not affecting their tax rate. You guys committed this and that's coming from you guys, but it's a credit in the facilities department because the guys did this work. That's kind of my reasoning, and I don't have a problem changing it around, but that's my way of thinking, that the residents kind of know what you guys, that you're helping out these community groups and stuff, right? So.
I'm fine with it.
No, but I get what you're saying, that it is in their scope, but I just don't know that,
Okay,
we get recognized. And
let's jump to the pool, Kim.
Okay.
let's jump in the pool, jump in the
Get
deep end.
cooled off, yeah. And I guess the revenue for the pool is my question. I understand that 24,000 is basically fees.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was almost my understanding that the Lions Club were giving us an annual donation. I don't see it here.
it's up in, just under, recommend,
Okay,
just that grant, that fundraising, I just, that line, the 5,000, yeah. So-
sorry, I thought that was it was supposed to be 10,000.
That's what I thought, and we pulled out the agreement. It's only
I
five.
believe it was lowered during COVID.
Could be, and it never got, I actually thought it was 10 as well, and we dug out
It
the
was
agreement.
when I was on recreation for 14 years, it was 10,000.
The current agreement with the Lions is from 2017.
And it's 5,000, correct? We dug it out, because
Yeah.
I thought it was 10 as well. Because I
I
think
guess
I
I-
had 10 in there one year, and then I didn't get it, so
yeah, I guess I'm,
Asked for 100,000.
yeah, I guess.
114.
My thought was that was always pool revenue that they were donating towards, but.
Well, I can move it. I just
Didn't see it
I
here,
knew we
so.
got it, so I put it at the top there, yeah, so. Mhm.
And can I jump to Grants Canada
Which underwear?
Community center.
under the community center?
Community center, did they get a grant? Yeah.
Okay, I'm just wondering, like, I looked under events and I'm not seeing it.
think
The Canada Day grant.
Special events under the 3,000, we only get 3,000 now. For Canada Day,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it went down. And we're getting less for summer students, so I don't have I put it to the Parks and Rec. And not, because we used to put a bit to the pool as well, because we got for more students, but we don't get for as many. That sounded good. That's good English. We don't get for many anymore. Yes, unfortunately, we're taking on more and the province is giving less. And federal, so I guess.
Okay.
And like I say, with the new GLs, when you guys start seeing them, it'll be broken down in different, better departments. You'll be able to actually follow stuff, so.
I'm all the way to West Dublin Arena.
Geez, you went from swimming to skating.
And there are some questions I have there, because I think I just lost track of where we're at on it, so Ken, maybe you can bring council up to speed on the current budget. What happened last year, it was less than budget, and just explain all of that for us, please.
Yeah, the last year's, budget allocation was 99,805. Last year, because of the arena improvements going in, we pulled out some capital. And we had a pretty good year ice rental wise, so we did have a surplus. And I think Tracy has we talked about it last fall, 35,000 into arena reserve.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so what I was gonna do was just
Put that up.
bring that to budget
Yeah.
and then put that in a reserve, and it's
Yeah.
pretty close to your 35, it's
Yeah.
34,264 or something, so.
Yeah.
So we just contributed the 65,000.
Yeah.
Is what we paid.
That's all we paid them, yeah,
Okay.
and then,
And we
yeah.
put 35 in order to issue in reserve
yeah,
Which
towards,
we were expecting
yeah,
anyway.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
towards the arena expansion. This year, our budget dropped down a little bit. We've upped the ice time considerably. We to kind of closer reflect the use. It's not anywhere near what it costs to operate, but it's in line with other municipalities around. I would, by this spring, I would think we probably are gonna have a surplus again next year. We have put some money into reserves we got enough money in reserves to pay for the heat exchanger we have to put in, and maybe a bit more. And we'll put another 50 in reserves in an operating budget, so I think it's kind of in the right direction.
Mhm. And the 3,000 is the committed
For the-
renaming.
we need-
That's just my question. And then others? I'm up to libraries and theaters. Everyone else got to that one?
We need a few more libraries. It makes us money.
Yeah, I know, that's the one I always like. Although we haven't been putting cleaning there, we will start putting cleaning there, but it's still gonna be good.
So if we put cleaning in there, we just come out somewhere else. It's not gonna
Yes,
affect-
exactly. It's all in that facilities admin GL right now, and it's gonna start getting allocated to the proper places, so.
Well, I talked to the county about building another one.
I built two. I don't want to build another really.
Where are you gonna put it?
Okay. theater,
Upstairs?
It's not a big deal, but it's another cost.
Well, we're trying to push renting it out more for, some guy, had a training session up there. Cause he called and Charlotte mentioned, we'll just use the upstairs, and then he had what was it? He was heat pumps or something, right? They brought in a heat pump and they were, he was doing the sales, and he said it was great room for that, so I hope we can push that more, to use it for those kind of things, so. As long as we can get the stuff up the elevator, because that's gonna be gone one of these days. I don't know what we're gonna do then.
Is the theater group still active?
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm. Yep,
Two shows a year.
I think last week they had something was going on up there.
Yeah, I think they're getting, doing auditions for their spring, show.
Oh, okay,
Spring.
Yeah, yeah.
Late spring. show.
yep, yep.
Yeah, I think I saw
Mhm.
that somewhere.
And then the Mudmen are coming sometime soon, I think, April. No, May. Ah, okay.
On the planning?
Planning, I'm assuming we'll have for the full year. I don't know what will happen with the going to the county, so that's just a year budget, so.
Okay. Well, I think it also hinges somewhat on Planner Tracy's.
No, I
Plans.
think she's here to the end of the year, no matter what, so like, I think she's,
But
the
I know she's
years.
getting close to
mhm,
calling her a day.
yeah, yeah,
But we do have a backup plan in place for that,
we do.
the county.
Oh. Like, what?
See, they had
I don't think they can find anybody.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the economic development, that's yours, Henry.
Maybe just before we leave planning, the 11,000 for contracted services, that for engineering.
Yeah, and, yeah, I don't think she has anything else, unless some legal might have accidentally got put in there. But yeah, that's engineering, and we've had obviously a lot of engineering lately, so that's what happens with growth.
Economic development.
Cut that down.
Henry, you want to comment on
Want to cut that, Henry?
We got to justify your monies.
Well, the, last year, we didn't even come close to using what we had.
No, but I moved that so that you've got to start for your CIP.
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
CIP portion is, sorry, the CIP portion is also in that 20, so we don't know what it's all gonna look like yet, so we haven't got any plans. We're talking about some things, but we're waiting to see what the CIP outcome is before we make any
Mhm.
decisions on our spending. So if there's anything gonna happen at all this year.
A lot of good happening there, so.
Yeah.
Good job. Heritage, it's a small number. Municipal drains. That's a bigger number.
Yeah, I don't know. I guesstimated on Brent's salary, but it could be a little higher next
Mhm.
year, because I believe Southwold did a wage thing and he went up a grade or two, or he said, so I'm guessing that we should be okay, but I think he spent a lot of time on drains this
Yeah.
year in this area, so I think we had more of our share of him than we might usually get, so. But you two behave over there. Just kidding.
I'm sure that was one.
Yeah. Um,
Are you okay with the drainage?
And that is the end of the tax rate portion. Now, I did do wastewater. I sent you wastewater. Budget, because I think we're good to, are we good to go and, but pass it? Like, I think water, I don't wanna fiddle with, but I think,
Understand that.
yeah, I think so.
Come up with a
Yeah,
totally different figure.
Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I was.
Just smacking with a microphone.
Kick me in the shins, you're up to me.
Yeah, we had a
I
pretty.
told her I'm
good
gonna buy her
we
a
were
pool
pretty-
noodle.
Yeah, we had a pretty good meeting with Aqua and Jim and everyone. I think we're
Yeah.
on the same page.
Yeah.
So they've sent us a list of who's gonna do what that we kind of reached agreed upon here. And I guess if we're happy with that, then they're gonna formal price in the contract together.
Yeah. So, yeah, so really we can go with wastewater
Yeah.
at saying status quo, so.
Mhm.
I kind of just adjusted the revenues by the approved fees by law, and so, okay.
Can we approve wastewater prior to water?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yep. They're not tied together.
No, but is a wastewater a percentage of
Well,
water.
you've approved the water rates,
Yes.
and that'll have nothing to do with
Okay.
Aqua, like, we'll still collect our own money, so, that'll, it'll be just I don't wanna bring the water budget until we know where it's gonna fall, at the end of the day, so. Or we can wait and do water and wastewater together if you
I'm
prefer.
lost on that. If Aqua comes in with a contract that's gonna cost the municipality more than what we're doing now, how does that not affect the water rate?
Well, it won't be because we'll be reducing Tim's salary, right?
We still
So-
don't know the net effect. of
No,
it.
and that's why I haven't brought the water budget, and if it is that big of an increase, then we just bring the water rate back, so.
Okay.
So,
Water and sewer and building are all self-financing.
Yeah,
So if we got a surplus in water, if it costs us 5,000 more, then we'll have 5,000 less in surplus at the end of the year.
so yeah, with Archie's budget that you guys have right now, I'm budgeting to put 177,000 in the reserve for future.
Okay.
Now, that might not be that at the end of the year because things fluctuate, but and the water's done the same way, so we would just, I would just budget for the water increase on what we've collected, and then just the salaries according to, what
Okay.
what
All
our
right.
contracts come in at, so.
I get it.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I don't think it should be that much of an effect at the end of the year, because they're only gonna be here 5 months, 4 months.
Starting, we kind of tentatively talked over August first or the end of
1st, so
August.
Yeah, so,
With
I
an
think we
overlap with Tim.
yeah, yeah.
Just a month,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
The scope of work looks actually pretty good. I was surprised that they would give up as much as they did. So I think the scope of work looks pretty good. And the only impact is, I think he said that their cost plus, like, so they're gonna do I think they're proposing a fixed rate contract, which is, I think is beneficial for us. And the other part to that is, the other thing to keep in mind is they're gonna make their percentages, which they anticipate being 25 to 30% gross profit. So that's what we can expect, I think, so.
Is there anything else you asked about, Ken, when you sent that email? I think we covered it all, didn't we?
I think pretty much, maybe we can go back over the bill.
So, oh, that's the other change I made. I reduced that to 4 months. So that brought that down a little bit. So that one is now, oh, sorry. I was gonna say that right off the bat. Kate has given her notice. She's done April 30th. So, yeah, so, sorry, I meant to say that when I came in, so that, because I was gonna say I've reduced that, because I had it until the end of August, guessing, because I knew she was leaving this year. But she's given her notice, so I put that down to end of April, so that brought those salaries down to tab 1 is now at, so it's come down to 554. And that includes, it's up, Ken asked what the difference was. Obviously it's the COLA increase, it's a third of the GIS asset management person. It's a asset management summer student. I think that was, and then step up for Tara, because she's moved up a step in her grade. So, yeah.
Part of that is wage increase for our CAO treasurer. I know you plugged a number in. That's not a discussion we're gonna have here tonight. But I suggest we line that up in closed for next meeting and come up with a reasonable or that recognizes what she's doing. So that's a plug number for now. So that's subject to change with council's direction. Okay, that one.
Oh, and it also, I think a little bit of Randy, because she was only in for part of the year last year, because she was. So I was just trying to get you the difference, why it wasn't just the 3% increase.
So that number, it's not gonna be wildly changed, but
Yeah, just to clarify, there was no, the discussion at one of our council was to, possibly hire another,
It doesn't have that.
another,
It does get me a summer student to get me going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
but I know we
Which-
had the discussion in our committee meeting and Tracy's pretty adamant that she can do the work, so.
Yeah, okay.
That's exactly right, Corey. You're right.
I was just gonna say, like, we really talked about possibly leaving that wage in for the entire years that if
I
you
know,
needed
but
to,
I-
could hire
But
somebody.
then we got to the end and saw the tax rate, so it's gonna have to be
But
status
we-
quo.
And I just want to say too, building on what Henry said earlier, we really looked at a lot of stuff and we really came down a lot. And I guess my concern is I don't want to get caught nickel and diming departments down and down and down to bare bones, because that's what's happened for years and years and it doesn't work. We don't have enough in reserves. We don't have enough to do other things. And it's really concerning to see where we are as a municipality not having those reserves. So, it's a big tax increase this year and a big pill to swallow, but we've got to make these tough decisions for the betterment of the municipality in the long run. And I just think nickel and diming it to death isn't going to better it. So I would just caution that.
So I can just tell you right now, the stuff we moved around a little bit or added, I added some of that revenue and admin, and we're at 8.716.
sorry, say that again, please.
8.716 increase.
And that doesn't give us any reserves.
No, not planned ones anyways.
Yeah, planned reserves.
We're hoping, like you say, like Corey said, which I agree, it's like, we need to budget properly and then hope that we can come in with a surplus and not a deficit, so.
I don't think we can just rely on surplus
No.
for transfer to reserves. We need to start building our reserves
Yes,
so that when things come up, we're not in our line of credit or asking for $1 million loan. And again, I understand we're not going to be popular with 8 or 9% tax increase, but we're not going to be popular when we tell people we're bankrupt either.
I think we've got a couple plans in place that at the end of the year, we'll be able to do some transfers to reserves that are needed badly. So. Yeah, I mean, everybody's happy saying that's what the increase is, but
And when you start considering taking out $1 million loan rather than working through a line of credit, then we need to take a hard look at where we are. So, and I think you've said that all year. So I think I'm on Corey's page that we're in a position now where we got to take a initiative and a step to move forward and build some capital and move forward.
mhm.
Are you suggesting we backtrack on an 8.716 tax increase and make it bigger?
I personally am, and my research around the province,
Can't get over it yet.
my research around the province has been, there's a lot of municipalities in, 8.7 is probably in that average, but they're upwards of 9, 10. Some places are 14. Yeah, so we can't compare ourselves to a municipality like Southold. We're not in that same playing field. We don't have any industrial property. We don't have the housing that they've experienced in the last couple of years. I think we got to position ourselves. So I would be comfortable, being in that between 9 and 10. I could even live with a bit higher, but I know this council probably won't go for that, so.
I think too, what residents don't understand is they compare the tax rates around us. But it like $50,000 to us is 1% increase, right? Whereas Southold, it might be 100,000. So because we don't have the assessment base that other municipalities have, it's harder for us to offer the same services, but keep the rate low. I don't think that, you know, I know it's hard on council, but if the residents want these services, we don't have the assessment to make it easy. So yeah, it's a, yeah, it's hard. So.
Yeah, and we're saying that we're offering the same service, but we're actually offering a bit more than others are receiving for their tax, for what they're paying in taxes. Many of the surrounding municipalities don't have garbage collection. They don't have water everywhere. So we're not really, it's not a real comparison because things like that we offer, or their garbage collection is twice a month. Whereas we give weekly service. So we could offer the same service for less, but I'm not sure the ratepayers are going to want to give up, because there's still gonna be a tax increase.
Yeah.
So I just don't think that we can offer less and say, well, then we can put it down to 5. I don't
Yeah.
think people are, I don't think people are gonna go for that.
But this is a budget, we haven't cut service.
Yeah.
In any way. And it's a difficult time, so I'm quite happy where we are. It's a tough year, but I don't think it's a year to try and get it all. So I'm quite comfortable with any, that's even a tough sell. We're gonna hear about it. We haven't cut service. We are offering a lot, as Councillor Goulard said. And I believe it's a reasonable budget.
I had a conversation today with someone about our potential tax rate because they saw it on Facebook, and I said, you got to remember that our medical center is percentages of that 8 point whatever 9 whatever we posted at 10.2%. So what does it allocate? What does it equate to, Tracy? Our $300,000 cost is
311 or something like that.
yeah. So if you take that percentage,
That's 6%.
it's big. People, I don't think we realize the impact that this is having on our, and it's a service that we're providing to our. So if our ratepayers want to still experience that, the luxury of having a medical center in our community, that's what it cost us.
Yeah.
And they should almost be separated in our marketing approach to this so that people understand it. That this is why it is what it is. I think we're doing really well, to be honest with you.
And I guess my
Really?
only concern too with saying that, you know, we're good with the 8.716 is that's kind of what our thought process, or my understanding of the thought process has been for the last quite a while, is let's just do just enough to get by without saving for the future. And that concerns me, that we're doing just enough to get by without saving for the future. And that I know it's a tough pill to swallow, and you guys have a lot more experience than I do at this, and I appreciate, you know, your thought processes and everything else, but it's really concerning for me that we're looking for right now and not looking for right now, doing the best we can for right now, which I think we've done by getting it down as low as we've gotten it. We're doing the best we can do for right now, but we're still not looking to the future at all. And I don't know that that's good planning.
Well, and something else that, like, Councillor Goulart was saying is we offer way more than a lot of municipalities. Like, we offer Service Ontario, which costs the taxpayers money. Not a lot, but, and then also the doctor's office. So to keep the doctors, we are, you know, it's costing us to have these things, and I think our residents appreciate that, but they have to realize that as well, right? So.
So we go forward and we'll get a draft with the discussion here tonight. Yeah, just go ahead, Nora.
That way, if anyone's listening, it's right there.
I might have missed the donations and in-kind grants way back at the beginning. It jumped way up to 198,000 from 55. So is that the cost of the roof? Like, I'm not sure what, or the Lions thing? I didn't see the detail or think
I'm
about
gonna
it.
let our treasurer break that down for you.
So council had committed a couple years ago to waive the building fee for the new Lions Club. So
Ah,
that's in there, just because it has to be,
right,
because
because it's a big,
and then it's gonna
building.
be
Yes,
credited
okay.
to the building
Got
department.
it.
So, and then it's got some couple other things that we're gonna move around, yeah.
good. And also, when you do up your report of whatever you're gonna let us know, I had no idea, I knew that we had the health thing. I had no idea that we paid for it. I thought it was OHIP did everything. I mean, I know I'm elderly, but surely there are other people out there that don't think, like, oh, they pay. Like, so please separate that out.
Yeah.
And whatever you talk, and I don't mind having garbage collection every other week. I don't know how much that saving would be, but that's an interesting point. Anyway, but I think you're fair, Corey, that 8% is, maybe it should be 9.
It maybe should be. You know, I look at the guy that's got a mortgage, working stiff, maybe not making a big salary, wants to get his kids in hockey and other things. That's who I think about with an 8.7. I'm not worried about anybody around this table. That's who I think about. So yeah, build for the future, but that's a big step for that. And there's a lot of them people in our municipality. That's my thought on it. Go ahead.
My thinking too is that, I'm okay with a little bit higher. I'm thinking that people, if we broke down how much that increase really looked like, because I know I know that you did put something out that said this increase would be on an average, this house value this would be the average for the year. But if you broke that down to people monthly, or, I think people wouldn't be so shocked when they actually see what that number looks like to them. Um, you know, I mean, clearly, pardon?
Which we can do.
Yeah,
I think we-
I think when people actually see, like, yeah, it sounds like and it is a big number, but we know what current climate we're in for the economy. And we knew this was coming. And if we don't do some sort of planning for the future, I don't want to sit around this table and have this discussion where we're forced to do 15 or 18 or 20% because we didn't do the right thing this time. That's my struggle, is that I don't want to be in that position sitting around, because you know what? In the current economy, people know that taxes are going up, and most people have heard like the 15s, the 14s, but they're in other municipalities. So they're expecting a significant increase. And if we don't do the right thing now, I don't want to have to try to sell 18 or 20% 2 years down the road. Right? That's my thought.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, when we sent that budget thing out, a 10 point something % increase was
We started out at, yeah.
Yeah, it was $34 a month
Yeah.
on the average $400,000 home.
Yeah, so,
So it's $1 a day. And I know that's difficult for some young families and some elderly families as well. And I try and think of them as well. I truly do. And I, like I said, it just concerns me for the future of our municipality to make sure that we're doing the right thing. But yeah, it was about $1 a day for that 10 point something
and I also,
% increase.
also think we have to get to the point where, because council donated that permit fee, that shouldn't be affecting our tax rates. We should have money put away for those kind of things, but because we don't have anything for the future, we now have to put it on the tax rate. I think as we build things and stuff like this, you guys can say, we're gonna help you out, we've got that, it's not gonna affect the tax rate this year, right? So, but it's getting to that point. So, like you say, this first one is gonna be the hard pill to swallow, and then go from there. But,
Just one more thought. When I reviewed a lot of the numbers, the tax revenue. So when you do the comparison of the agricultural tax rate and the residential tax rate, we're at 3.9 million in residential tax rate and 1.9 in agricultural tax rate, which is part of our community. It is what it is, and that's the reality of it. But our allocation of expenditures and funds, a lot of it goes to rural, to drainage, to a lot of the services that we provide in our rural municipality. And that's fine too. That's part of who we are as a community. But we took out $20,000 in sidewalks out of 3.9 million in revenue through. We have houses on Lila Street that are paying $8,000 in taxes, right? And the return on investment to the community in Dutton and Wallacestown, Iona, is pretty minimal. So I think we need to really keep that in mind going forward. Yes, we just nickel and dimed Dutton. And I'm a counselor for Ward 2, so I fully support the agricultural community in everything that they do when it comes to drainage. But we don't question drains, we don't question assessments to the municipality and what it costs us. We didn't question ash line when we had to do it last year. That's just part of taking care of our community. And yet we can't step up and do $20,000 worth of sidewalks. That's my challenge. And that's why we have to build reserves, like Councillor Pemberton said. So I think we need to be bold and be ready to justify our budget. At the end of the day, there's always another year where we can lower it. So.
Well, I'm like Mike, I'm quite happy with this 8.76%. I think in a perfect world, I would have liked to have given the Lions Club a bit more money, but it just can't, we just can't in this day and age. I guess I could live with a small increase in the reserves as long as we didn't go too much. We can always do that, and if we get too much pushback, we can take it back out of there. So maybe we throw another 50 in and go from there.
Let me see what that brings you to.
It would still keep us under 10%.
Let me see what that, yeah. So, yeah, what are you thinking that you'd like to, I'll just put it on the line item. Like, what are you thinking?
Decide where it goes later.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say under contingency. I'll just put. So if I put, let's say 50,000, let's see where we at about that. 50 would put us to 9.73.
What did you do?
Add $50,000 to as a transfer to reserve. I don't know if,
No, that 1% is 50 grand.
yes, it's roughly around. That's all we say, it's roughly around. It's not quite 50, but it's roughly around there. Yeah.
But 50 grand transferred to reserves doesn't buy you nothing.
That's, I was gonna
It's a
say,
start. It's a start. Yeah.
it is a start, yeah. I mean, if it,
Let's ponder that one.
Yeah,
Everybody's got, and maybe even reach out, get some feedback there.
well, this is why we tried having the budget open house last year, and I think Nora was the only one that showed up. Yeah, wasn't many, that's for sure.
Okay, are we good for now? Good discussion. It's tough.
Mhm.
But Sarah? Run, but I have another thing I gotta get to. We're all complete.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Drulard, that bylaw 2024-09, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the municipal council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich, be read a first, second, and third time and passed. All in favor? And that's carried. Want me to go ahead and close? All right. Moved by Drulard, seconded by Dreyfus, that the meeting of the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich closes at 6:05 PM. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you.
So I did these up for you to, for next, so you have them for next council meeting.
Nora? Oh, thank you.
Those were the comparisons of the